I'm glad to have you here. Follow my story until the end and comment the city you're watching from. My name is Loretta Dean, and this is how I reclaimed my dignity after my own daughter said my room stinks. So I packed my things and sold the mansion. The monitor flatlined at 3:47 a.m., its shrill alarm piercing through the quiet hospital ward. But I wasn't dying, I was listening. Through the thin curtains separating my bed from the hallway, I heard my daughter Patricia's voice, sharp and businesslike, even at this ungodly hour. How long until we can get power of attorney? She asked someone. The house is worth at least $800,000, and she's got that savings account we need to access. My heart, very much alive despite the malfunctioning monitor, began to race. A nurse rushed in to fix the equipment, but I barely noticed her. My own daughter, the baby I'd raised alone after Thomas died, the girl I'd worked double shifts to put through law school, was planning to take everything while I lay here recovering from pneumonia. Ma'am, are you all right? The nurse's concerned face came into focus. Your monitor disconnected, but your vitals look good. I nodded, unable to speak past the lump in my throat. As she reattached the sensors, I heard Patricia's heels clicking away down the corridor, probably heading to the cafeteria to meet with her husband Derek. They've been hovering like vultures ever since I'd been admitted 3 days ago. 2 weeks earlier. My morning routine hadn't changed in the 5 years since Thomas passed. Wake at 6 a.m., make tea in the chip blue mug he'd given me for our 40th anniversary. Water the roses he planted along our fence. The house felt too big without him, but it held 45 years of memories I couldn't leave. Patricia visited monthly, always with Derek in tow. They'd walk through rooms like real estate agents, commenting on potential and market value. I'd pretend not to notice, serving them coffee and homemade cookies like the dutiful mother I'd always been. Mom, you really should think about downsizing, Patricia would say, eyeing the crown molding Thomas had installed himself. This place is too much for you. I manage just fine, I'd reply, refilling her cup from the pot. The truth was, I did struggle. The arthritis made climbing stairs painful, and maintaining the garden grew harder each season. But this was my home. Thomas had worked overtime at the factory for years to pay off the mortgage early. This is our castle, Rosie, he'd say, pulling me close in the kitchen. Nobody can ever take this from us. I kept his reading glasses on the mantel, his cardigan still hanging in the closet. Patricia called it unhealthy attachment. I called it love. The pneumonia hit suddenly. One day I was deadheading roses, the next I couldn't breathe without pain. Mrs. Chun from next door found me collapsed in the garden, my hands still clutching the pruning shears. The hospital room became my prison and my revelation. Patricia and Derek visited daily, but their concern felt rehearsed. They'd whisper in corners, shuffle papers, make calls to lawyers whose names I didn't recognize. On my 4th day, while pretending to sleep, I heard everything. The doctor says she needs weeks of recovery, Derek said, maybe months. This is our window. I've already talked to Brandon and Associates, Patricia replied. If we can prove she's mentally incompetent, we can fast-track the power of attorney. The pneumonia confusion will help our case. What about your brother? Patricia snorted. Michael hasn't visited in 2 years. He won't fight us. My son Michael lived in Seattle, running a small restaurant. We talked weekly, but visits were rare. I'd always told him not to worry, that Patricia was here to help. What a fool I'd been. Once we have control, we sell the house, liquidate her savings, and move her into Sunset Manor. Derek continued. My cousin runs it, he'll give us a deal. Sunset Manor, I knew that place. A warehouse for the forgotten elderly, where dignity went to die. My friend Eleanor had withered away there, begging her children to take her home until her voice gave out. But what I found next changed everything. That night, after they left, I asked the nurse for my purse. I need my reading glasses. I lied. What I really needed was Thomas's old wallet, which I'd carried since his death. Inside, Behind a faded photo of our wedding day was a business card I'd never had reason to use. Marcus Webb, a state attorney. Thomas had met him years ago, liked him immediately. If anything happens to me, Rosie, you call this man. He's got something important for you. I thought it was just Thomas being overly cautious. Now, with trembling fingers, I dialed the number. Marcus Webb arrived the next morning, looking exactly as Thomas had described, silver-haired, kind eyes, carrying a worn leather briefcase that had seen better days. Patricia was at work, Derek at his golf club. I timed it perfectly. Mrs. Morrison, he said, sitting beside my bed. I've been waiting for your call for 5 years. 5 years? He nodded, pulling out a manila envelope. Your husband was quite a planner. He came to me 6 months before his death, worried about something. Said his daughter had been asking too many questions about finances, pushing papers at him to sign. My hands shook as I opened the envelope. Inside were documents I'd never seen: deeds, bank statements, investment portfolios. The numbers made me gasp. Thomas never told you about the settlement, did he? Marcus asked gently. I shook my head, speechless. 25 years ago, he was injured at the factory, permanent back damage from faulty equipment. The company paid a substantial settlement, but Thomas invested it quietly. Very quietly. He said. Marcus smiled. He said his Rosie deserved a surprise nest egg, but he wanted to make sure it was protected. The documents showed trusts, investments, properties I never knew we owned. But more importantly, they showed safeguards, ironclad legal protections that would activate if anyone tried to take advantage of me. Hidden for 20 years, this document would change everything. There's more, Marcus said, handing me a sealed letter. He asked me to give you this if you ever felt threatened. Thomas's handwriting made me cry before I even opened it. Asterisk, my dearest Rosie. If you're reading this, it means someone is trying to hurt you, and I'm not there to protect you. I'm sorry for keeping secrets, but I knew Patricia's nature long before you wanted to see it. She gets it from my side. My brother was the same way, always looking for the easy money. You gave that girl everything. Worked yourself to the bone for her education, her wedding, her life, but some people see kindness as weakness. Don't let them, my love. Marcus has all the documents. The house is in a trust that only you control. The investments are protected. There's also a video. Ask Marcus to show you. I made it the week before I died, when I knew my time was short. Fight for what's yours, Rosie. You are always the strongest one. All my love. Thomas asterisk. I checked myself out of the hospital against medical advice the next day. Patricia arrived as I was signing the papers, her face cycling through surprise, anger, and false concern. Mom, what are you doing? You're not well enough. I'm well enough to know what you've been planning, I said, my voice steady despite the oxygen tank I still needed. Sunset Manor? Power of attorney? Selling my house? The color drained from her face. I don't know what you think you heard. I heard everything, Patricia, every single word. Derek appeared behind her, his golf tan somehow obscene in the fluorescent hospital lighting. Now, Rosemary, you're confused. The pneumonia has affected your judgment. The only thing affecting my judgment was believing my daughter still had a conscience. I shot back. My daughter's next words shattered me. You're being selfish, Mother. That house is wasted on you. You can barely climb the stairs. We're trying to help you. By plotting behind my back? By planning to lock me away while you steal everything your father worked for? It's not stealing if we're family. Patricia's mask finally slipped, revealing the greed beneath. Do you know how much Derek and I struggle? Private school for the twins, the mortgage on our place, the country club fees. Country club fees? I laughed, but it was bitter. I worked 16-hour shifts to pay for your education, and you're worried about country club fees? Marcus Webb chose that moment to enter, briefcase in hand. Patricia's eyes narrowed. Who is this? Your father's attorney, I said. And mine. The lawyer's face went pale when he saw Patricia's expression, pure rage mixed with dawning realization. 2 weeks later, we stood before Judge Helen Caraway in a packed courtroom. Patricia had filed for emergency conservatorship, claiming I was mentally incompetent. I countered with a restraining order and fraud charges. The judge froze when she saw me. Rosemary Morrison? Nurse Morrison from Memorial Hospital? I nodded, recognizing her now. 20 years ago, I'd held her premature daughter in the NICU for 3 months, singing lullabies when Helen couldn't be there. Your Honor, Patricia's lawyer began. My client is simply concerned for her mother's welfare. Save it. Judge Caraway interrupted. I've reviewed the evidence. The recorded conversations, the forged signatures on preliminary documents, the attempted access to protected accounts. She turned to Patricia. You tried to have your mother declared incompetent while she was fighting pneumonia? Patricia squirmed. She's not thinking clearly. Clear enough to contact her attorney. Clear enough to protect herself. The judge's voice could have frozen hell. Mr. Webb, please present your evidence. Marcus stood, connecting his laptop to the courtroom screen. Your Honor, I have a video message from Thomas Morrison, recorded 2 weeks before his death. Thomas appeared on screen, thinner than I remembered, but eyes still bright. The courtroom fell silent. If you're watching this, Thomas said, it means someone, probably Patricia, is trying to take advantage of my Rosie. So let me be clear. My wife is the smartest, strongest woman I know. She worked 2 jobs for 30 years, raised our children alone when I worked nights, and never complained. Not once. He held up documents. These are the trust papers. Everything is protected. The house, the investments, all of it. It can only be accessed by Rosemary unless she specifically signs it over while in the presence of Marcus Webb and 2 other witnesses. Then he looked directly at the camera, as if seeing Patricia. Sweetheart, if you're watching this, remember when you were 7? You fell off your bike and scraped your knee. Your mother ran 4 blocks in her house slippers to get to you. She carried you home, blood all over her favorite dress, singing that song you loved about the mockingbird. That's who she is. That's who you're trying to hurt. Patricia began to cry. Real tears, for the first time in years. But Thomas wasn't done. There's one more thing. Rosie doesn't know this, but I've been in contact with Michael. He's been setting aside money to move back, to be closer to his mother. He wanted it to be a surprise. So Patricia, if you're trying to push your mother out, know this: she won't be alone. She never will be. Judge Caraway's ruling was swift and decisive. The restraining order was granted. Patricia's attempt at conservatorship was denied and recorded as attempted elder abuse. She was ordered to pay my legal fees and undergo counseling. But the real moment came after court. Patricia found me sitting on a bench outside, feeding pigeons from a bag of breadcrumbs, something Thomas and I used to do. Mom? Her voice was small, broken. Can I sit? I nodded. I'm pregnant, she whispered. 8 weeks. And I'm terrified. I looked at my daughter, really looked at her. Saw the fear beneath the greed, the desperation beneath the designer clothes. Derek's been gambling, she continued. We're in debt. Serious debt. I thought if I could just get the house. She broke off, sobbing. I became someone I don't recognize. Someone Dad would hate. Your father could never hate you, I said softly. Disappointed maybe, but never hate. I tried to steal from my own mother. I tried to lock you away. She looked at me with eyes that reminded me of the little girl with the scraped knee. How'd you forgive that? I thought about Thomas's letter, about strength and kindness, about second chances and the weight of desperation, about the grandchild growing inside her. We start over, I said finally. But this time with truth. No more schemes, no more lies. You want help? You ask. You need support? I'm here. But you respect me, Patricia. You see me as a person, not a problem to be solved or a resource to be mined. She nodded, mascara streaming. What about Derek? That's your choice. But he's not welcome in my home until he proves he's changed. And Michael? I smiled. Your brother's moving back next month, opening a restaurant downtown. Maybe it's time you two remembered your family. 6 months later, I stood in my garden, healthy and whole. The roses Thomas planted bloomed magnificently, their scent carrying on the warm breeze. Mrs. Chun helped me install new garden beds, raised ones, easier on my arthritis. Michael had indeed moved back, his restaurant thriving. He visited twice a week, bringing new recipes for me to try. We'd cook together, laughing about his disasters in the kitchen as a child. Patricia's divorce was finalized last month. Derek had chosen gambling over family counseling. She moved into the apartment above Michael's restaurant, working as his manager while rebuilding her life. The baby, a girl she named Rose, was due any day. Mom? Patricia called from the porch. She visited daily now, but always called first, always knocked, always respected my space. In the garden, dear. She waddled over, one hand supporting her enormous belly. The doctor says it could be any time now. I'm scared. I took her hand, feeling the tremor in it. I'll be there. Every step. Even after everything? Especially after everything. I touched her belly, feeling my granddaughter kick. That's what family does. We forgive. We grow. We start over. That evening, as I sat on my porch in the chipped blue mug warming my hands, I thought about Thomas. About secrets and protection. About strength disguised as kindness. The doorbell rang. Marcus Webb, coming for a monthly dinner. He'd become a friend, a reminder that Thomas was still looking out for me. Rosemary, he smiled, holding up a bottle of wine. How's our girl doing? Which one? I laughed. Patricia's ready to pop, and I'm planning the nursery. In your house? In the guest room. They'll stay with me the first few months. I saw his surprised look. People change, Marcus. Sometimes they just need the right wake-up call. My phone buzzed as text from Michael with a photo of tonight's special at the restaurant. Mom's famous pot roast. He named a dish after me. I showed Marcus, pride evident in my voice. You've built quite a life, Rosemary. Thomas would be proud. I looked around at my blooming garden, my secure home, my healing family. The chipped mug in my hands had been glued back together more than once, but it still held tea. Still served its purpose, still had value. Just like me 2 days later, as I held baby Rose for the first time, Patricia whispered, I'm going to tell her about you, Mom. About your strength. About how you fought for what was right, even when it meant standing up to me. Tell her about forgiveness too, I said, tracing the baby's perfect cheek. Tell her that family isn't about blood or houses or money. It's about choosing each other, again and again, even when it's hard. Michael snapped a photo 3 generations of Morrison women, survivors all. That night, I found another letter from Thomas, hidden in the trust documents. This one shorter but no less powerful. Rosie, if you're reading this, you've won. You've protected what's ours, and probably saved Patricia from herself in the process. That's my girl. Always the nurse, always healing people, even when they don't deserve it. Live well, my love. The house is yours, but home? That's wherever you are. I framed that letter, hung it next to our wedding photo. A reminder that love protects, even from beyond. That strength comes in many forms. That sometimes the greatest inheritance isn't money or property, it is the courage to stand up for yourself and the wisdom to forgive.